Why didn't they just go down and break the source wall and allow all that dark multiversal energy to creep into the DC universe and overtake it for 6 years straight? We've already seen this. The entire DC universe has been burning through on dark side energy ever since we got Dark Knight's Metal. We got tons of new information regarding DC Comics Absolute Universe, which is going to be rolling out of Absolute Power. We got to see the logos. We got some new variant covers out there, some new details about the characters and what they're going to be doing. It just kind of gets worse and worse for them, especially the Batman logo. Batman is the most important character. This is going to be a universe where Superman isn't the heart and soul of it. Batman is going to be, because it's going to be a much darker universe. The kind of universe I think Scott Snyder can get behind. And Scott Snyder's trying to like roll with the punches and act like it's funny that everyone is clowning his dumbass Batman logo. But I'm pretty sure he's a control freak, and I don't think he's having as much fun with this as you might imagine. But there's a lot of controversy around the logo itself, but we also have some more information regarding events that are going to happen before Absolute Universe even kicks off that they've already spoiled in solicitations, and some other stuff to look forward to, including collector cards, which I would absolutely be in favor of. I hope I can get my hands on these bad boys because they actually look kind of fun. But let's get to the big controversy and this dumbass Batman logo. DC officially revealed its brand new logos for Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, and Absolute Wonder Woman. While the logos for Superman and Wonder Woman were closer to their original counterparts, the logo for Batman stuck out the most among fans who have been memeing it a lot online. Featuring a giant rectangle that is modified to look like a bat, the bat symbol represents what this new version of the Dark Knight is going to look like. Saying the rectangle is modified to look like a bat, I do think is a stretch. It's a rectangle with some symmetrical spikes in it that happens to have 2 in the middle and 1 on the bottom middle for, I guess, ears and a tail. Otherwise, there's no real bat features on it because it's not really a Batman logo. I guess they're using it as the logo. It is on his chest, but it's not a logo. And that's why I showed the Jim Lee cover specifically, because I think that one gives us the best idea of what it actually is. It's no longer a logo meant to instill fear in criminals and hope in the downtrodden, the people looking to Batman to save the city of Gotham. It's actually meant to be wielded. As you could see kind of in the cover from Jim Lee, it's an axe blade. It's not an actual logo. It's meant to be functional, just like his cape is now going to be functional. He'll be able to walk with his cape because it's nanotechnology or something stupid. And as dumb as the cape is, admittedly, very, very stupid, and not realizing that sometimes a cape is just a cape. Of course, they're doing that with Absolute Superman as well. Neither here nor there. We'll talk about that here in a few minutes, but first, let's get to this Batman logo thing. So it's going to be the head of a battle axe. What do you do with a battle axe? Do you tickle people with it? Do you chop down trees with the battle axe? No. You murder people with it. You disembowel them. You cut their arms and legs off. You cut their head off. And so it's just this enormous weapon to wield in this new Absolute Universe, which I think is a terrible take on Batman. They used to feature Batman with deadly weapons, and it doesn't work for the character because he's so consumed by vengeance. He would turn into a giant murder, like addicted machine that would just murder everybody. You know, like, yeah, let's take the weapons away and let him have a little bit of a moral code. But this is going to be Batman without a moral code and basically anything else that resembles Batman, including a logo that looks like a bat, because this is quite frankly just a rectangle with some spikes on it that vaguely, if you turn your head, squint real hard, and convince yourself that it is a bat, maybe it's an actual Batman logo. It's just an axe head, and it's pretty stupid. A lot of people are upset with this. Not only they've been memeing it, they've actually gone to some higher-ups, the powers to be behind DC, to make a change. On Threads, DC Comics fan Stuart Dillon posted an appeal to DC Film Studio head James Gunn regarding the look of the new Absolute Batman comic, specifically the logo, formed from the chest body armor and spikes, creating an accidental bat. He wrote, "James Gunn, as a fan of Batman, I beg you, please change the Batman logo. It looks awful. I love the Superman one." And the DC Studios president actually replied, James Gunn told him, "I have no jurisdiction over the comics." That's right, folks. Actually, James Gunn has no business really with the comic books themselves. Now, they do have a shared, connected universe through video games, animation, television, and movies. That's the big plan. Comics really aren't in there. If you wanted to make a difference and you really wanted to reach out to somebody with the clout and responsibility to make a change like this, you would need to reach out to Jim Lee himself, who does appear to be asleep at the wheel and likely would not even answer you or acknowledge that the question was ever even brought up, because he is busy. He's busy doodling, and he's busy doing red carpets and busy doing anything but gauging the interest and excitement level of DC fans in this absolute universe and whether or not the Batman logo itself is actually compelling or even cool. So do not reach out to James Gunn. He's got nothing to do with comic books. DC have a different setup, and Jim Lee seems to have an enormous amount of power that he's not wielding to make anything better. I guess he's just kind of going along the motions, but people are so outraged with this stupid Batman logo that they are actually contacting James Gunn and pleading, please change this back. While I do think the logo is absolutely stupid, and I think the concept behind the logo is even dumber, that it's an axe head and he's going to wield it and, I don't know, chop the legs off of people. But I don't think reaching out to James Gunn was probably warranted on this case. It's just a bad logo. Bad logos happen. They always happen. And I do think this was a bad choice. We do have a lot more information, especially with a lot of covers that are coming out. The 3 absolute titles will push DC's iconic trinity in exciting new ways, with DC teasing the challenge of the new Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman will face. Absolute Batman will not have the money, mansion, or butler of his core line counterpart. Meanwhile, Absolute Wonder Woman will have no island paradise of Themyscira or sisterhood to help guide her on her missions of peace. Lastly, Absolute Superman will introduce Clark Kent without his family, Fortress of Solitude, or any other place to call home, as the story answers whether he will stand for truth, justice in the new Absolute universe. You forgot the American way there. I didn't forget the American way, but certainly the author did. And I don't know why they're calling him Clark Kent if he actually doesn't arrive on Earth to be raised by the Kents. He's not Clark Kent. He's just Kal-El, and that ain't Superman. And I do think, truly think, because I believe when this was pitched, and it's been around, at least the idea has been gestating for 5 or 6 years at least, Scott Snyder wanted this to be like an Ultimate style universe, but I do believe he's completely missed the mark on what an Ultimate style universe was actually supposed to accomplish. You weren't actually supposed to make the most like obscene versions of the characters. What if they weren't the character of what they were? You're actually supposed to bring them back to their true core of what the character was when it started and worked the best, untethered from the confines of basically continuity. And a great example that was brought up to me recently was with a character like Tony Stark, who's basically been saddled with the alcoholism thing, and anytime something comes up, he's an alcoholic again. You go into the Ultimates with Tony Stark there, and you get the best version of Tony Stark. He's a playboy. He's a technological whiz kid. He can make suits and all this stuff. And yes, he does have his challenges to overcome, but he comes without all the baggage of essentially 60 years of continuity. So you get the very best, most pure distilled version of the character that worked the best. Scott Snyder, like that shit went woo right over his head. The Ultimate Universe is to Scott Snyder what Watchmen was to Tom King, where they love the concept and they like pieces of it, but they didn't understand what it was actually accomplishing and what made it great to begin with. So you get this weird bastardized version of the characters. And I imagine Batman works out in the end because he is Batman and he is the most malleable character, I think, in all of comic books. Right up there with Wolverine, where you can put him in so many different situations and you can mess with his motivations. You can have him do this and this. And he's a character that kind of works. But these other characters aren't really like that, especially Superman. And I can tell you right now, from what I've been told, this version of Superman fans will absolutely hate it. Maybe Zack Snyder fans will like it because they never liked Superman to begin with. Wonder Woman might work. Without Themyscira, I don't think you're losing Wonder Woman not being an Amazon. I don't think you're losing everything that makes Wonder Woman what Wonder Woman is. You know, going out there and fighting like the agents of the underworld and discovering treasures and artifacts and stuff like that kind of sounds all right for Wonder Woman. It might work. But Superman is certainly the weirdest interpretation and the biggest miss as far as if you wanted Absolute Universe to be an Ultimate style universe. I don't think any of them got the concept whatsoever. And I think that's going to be the biggest downfall of that. Also giving away major spoilers and secrets that we should be looking forward to, but now we know are going to happen. Terrible idea. We have seen Darkseid at the heart of DC All-In and Absolute Universe promotions. We have been told that the Absolute Universe is born as a result of Darkseid, and now the new Justice League Unlimited #1 solicitations for November 2024 promises that All-In, the wake of Absolute Universe and the DC All-In special, Darkseid's death has triggered a massive power vacuum in the DCU, and that our heroes work to uncover the mystery of the Dark Lord successor. And now we have another insert that kind of expands upon that in DC Comics promoting All-In, to where you have the Omega symbol, you've got Darkseid in the background, and you have the two different versions of the teams, DC Prime, you've got DC Absolute Universe. But now it says Darkseid is in the Absolute Universe, and then Darkseid was in the Prime Universe. So obviously Darkseid was existing in the Prime Universe. When they kill him there, he's going to go to the Absolute Universe, and it's going to be powered by Darkseid energy. I don't know what I would do if I saw a DC universe that was powered by dark energy. Like, why didn't they just come up with this like a dark multiverse? Why didn't they just go down and break the source wall and allow all that dark multiversal energy to creep into the DC universe and overtake it for 6 years straight? We've already seen this. The entire DC universe has been burning through on Darkseid energy ever since we got Dark Knight's Metal. You know, even something like Blackest Night, which is, I think objectively, about 1.5 billion times better than Dark Knight's Metal, and is darker. It has way crazier stuff happening in there. Once they get through with it, they actually restore everything, and hope is restored because Jeff Johns did it, and he's not a fucking idiot. And he actually realized what DC Comics is all about. Unfortunately, for DC Comics fans, Scott Snyder did Dark Knight's Metal, and the entire universe has never recovered because after him, and he left, the guy that was kind of not really in charge, but with the chief creative guy was James Tynion, underling of Scott Snyder. Everything's dark still. And certainly when Josh Williamson came aboard, a more true believer of Scott Snyder, everything got darker and darker and darker. And you get fucking Dark Crisis on Infinite Earths and Lazarus Planet and stupid night chairs and all this crap. And now you get Absolute Power, which is absolutely fueled on Darkseid energy. But there you go. That's the big secret. Darkseid is going to die in Earth Prime. He's going to be reborn in the Absolute Universe. And eventually they'll come together. I know you're not going to see this one coming, but I'm going to spoil it. They're going to do another event where they all meet up together. I'm sorry. I spoiled DC Comics plans for the next 3 years until they have to drop all of it, because people realize pretty quickly this ain't Superman and stop supporting it. Eventually they realize this is Kelly Thompson. I don't want to read this book anymore. And really you've only got Batman left. And maybe we'll have Absolute Batman for another 5 years. But for some reason, I highly doubt it. I don't think they're in the long haul for any of this stuff, because I have a sneaking suspicion that a lot of it is going to fall apart very, very quickly, because I've actually heard the ideas and concepts behind these comic books, and most of them are bad. Finally, we've got some good news, and I'm glad you waited around for this one. DC's All-In initiative kicks into high gear this October. Scott Snyder took to social media and shared that throughout October, DC will be giving retailers new Justice League membership cards to give out free to fans who buy DC books that week. The image shows off covers to Absolute Batman, Absolute Superman, and Absolute Wonder Woman, and then shows off cards for Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman in their modern classic looks. We also get the blank card and then the Darkseid version. DC is also doing QR codes that will present in these Justice League membership cards. The QR codes will lead to exclusive previews, behind-the-scenes content, and more. I know I'm in my mid-40s, and this shouldn't get me excited, but damn, I would want me some Justice League membership cards. I'd want all of them. I want the blank one. I would fill it out with my name and information, as long as my kids didn't get to it first, and I would be all in on that sumbitch. I still love trading cards. You know, I had an enormous baseball card collection growing up. It's so much easier than doing comic books, which are absolutely enormous, and cards are great, and you get the great art on it, and I would definitely be all in on the cards. Unfortunately, there is no local comic book shop where I'm at. There is one a couple of islands away that maybe I'll be able to get to some cards there, but I'm not very optimistic about that. Now, as far as the QR codes, we have been giving Marvel Comics a massive amount of shit. And in fact, I've been giving Scott Snyder a massive amount of shit in this video. And I mean all of it. I'm not taking any of it back. But that is actually how you do QR codes. You scan the QR code if you want the bonus material, and you see some behind the scenes stuff. You see an interview. You see some pencils with no inks and the creating of the character, or the different layouts and what they put into it, the different elements of the character and what it all means. And it's called bonus material. That's what a QR code really should be doing in a commercial product like comic books. You know what I'm saying? Or bring it to a fucking trailer for DC All In. That's what it should be doing. That's how you do a QR code. Congratulations, Scott Snyder and DC Comics have been giving you a rash of crap this entire video, but you figured out the QR code conundrum. You actually just use it for what it's most useful for. Promotion and marketing, not hiding spoilers for actual events in the comic books that would make the comic book, in theory, worth money over time, which is what Marvel are doing with X-Men. So there you have it, the latest Absolute Universe updates. The Batman logo is stupid. Ain't no denying that. I do believe Scott Snyder and company have missed the entire purpose of an Ultimate style universe. We've already got spoilers on a major death of a villain leading into this, but we do have trading cards. And hey, I want to leave this one on a high note, and I'm very happy about that. And maybe somebody can help me get my hands on those because I would really enjoy it. If you would like more conversations like this and to support me on Think Critical YouTube, you do need to come visit me on Think Critical Patreon. There's a link in the video description. We've got lots of awesome bonus material, mostly podcasts, but we do have exclusive videos, all the solicitations, exclusive reviews, lots more stuff going on over there with lots of fun content. If you can't get enough, that is the place to be.